Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day quite like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find the grills, the canopies, the jerseys, and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour at undefeatable prices every day. Shop Academy at locations throughout Ohio, including Zanesville, Springfield, and Boardman. Fun can't lose, and neither can you with tailgate gear from Academy. Thanks to our partners over at Academy Sports and Outdoors for helping us out here at Lettermen Row. That is Mick Walker on the other side of your screen. I am just Spencer Holbrook. We are here to talk three keys to Ohio State beating Penn State. Doesn't look as intimidating as it once did, does it, Mac?
It does not. Earlier in the season, this was top five matchup. We had big noon kickoff coming to town, and they still are. But this really should not have been on big noon because these two teams are not of equal odds to win a national championship or compete for the ultimate goal in the sport at this point.
Yeah, they're not of a similar ilk anymore, as the olds would say. But we still have to do three keys. We did three keys for the Minnesota game. We did three keys, Mick, for Grambling. Okay, we're not just going to skip over it because Ryan Day called this thing a matchup game. Ryan Day still thinks that this Penn State team is talented because they are. And I just got done before we hopped on here watching the Penn State Iowa game. Man, you still see the talent from Penn State. You see Denai Dennis Sutton off the edge. You see Zane Durant in the teeth of that defense. You see A.J. Harris on the outside playing corner. You see Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, more so Allen, making some ball plays in there. The receivers still have a little bit of juice to them. This is still a team that can present some challenges to Ohio State. So there are three keys to win this game. We're still going to do this. And look, man, if this game ends up being closer than expected – it's a 20.5-point spread according to the folks over at BetMGM. We'll talk about them on Friday's program, like we do every week. I just think, Mick, there's a chance here for Ohio State to struggle a little bit. So we'll get to the first key to the game, and I think it's the most important one because you're going to learn a lot about this Ohio State team in this regard. The first key to the game. Do you want to guess what it is, or do you want me to tell you?
I've already read your story, so you can go ahead and just tell me.
Okay. It's to run the football, Mick. Establish the run. The Buckeyes have only run for 121.5 rushing yards per game in the Big Ten. I stripped out the Texas game because that was kind of an anomaly game. I also stripped out the two other non-conference games because they were against lesser competition. No offense to my Ohio Bobcats. Love you guys down in Athens. But, it is what it is. 121.5 rushing yards per game in Big Ten action. That's much lower than they want. And it's way lower than what Penn State's doing on the ground. But this is about the Penn State defense, Mick, because Penn State has been giving up an average of 158.7 yards per game on the ground this season. That's 90th nationally. And in Big Ten play, 4 games, Oregon, UCLA, Northwestern, and Iowa. The Nittany Lions are giving up 202 yards a game on the ground. That is staggering for a team that has hung its hat on physicality on the defensive side of the football for years under James Franklin. Maybe that's part of the reason why he's no longer employed by the Pennsylvania State University. So, look, Isaiah West and Bo Jackson, they're the tackle breakers of this Ohio State rushing attack. Iowa broke a lot of tackles against this Penn State run defense. So the onus is on them to break tackles and find something in the run game. I think it's going to be paramount for Ohio State to establish the run in this game, prove that they can run the ball against a team that still has some talent, but is clearly struggling to stop the run.
They've also just lost some talent. Like Tony Rojas is probably Penn State's best linebacker. He's not going to play in this game. I think you and I both like Zane Durant as a defensive tackle, but he's a smaller, undersized guy where you believe he has more pass rush juice than he does just being able to hold the point of the attack and stop the runs. Denai Dennis Sutton probably is better at setting the edge than he is at rushing the passer, but still, I think the rest of that front seven is a little bit depleted compared to where it has been in the past, and that's like where you said, where you have to have Luke Montgomery and Austin Saraveld and Carson Hinsman and even Tager Shabola or Josh Padilla, like some of these guys that are in the middle that are real good at just kind of getting in you and mucking things up. That's where you need those guys to create running lanes. I said muck. There was an M there. I did not stutter there. Well, we're gonna make sure we'll keep this for the family show.
Yeah, it is a family program. You're right.
It's a family program, and it's a family effort to get the Ohio State run game going because that offensive line group is a very tight-knit group, as we heard from Austin Saraveld on Wednesday night. So I'll be anxious to see what they do against the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, it's interesting, Mick, because the UCLA game was probably the lowest effort Penn State defensive performance I've seen. of all of them. I still thought that they gave effort against Northwestern. It just wasn't meant to be, I guess. And Northwestern had a late game touchdown drive to win that game. And then Iowa also had a late game fourth quarter touchdown drive to win that game. So it's a recurring theme here that over time, I think this Penn State defense, when its offense isn't doing much, just kind of reaches its breaking point. And I don't understand the phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. I've never understood that. But it just seems like every game there's one of those things for this defense that just kind of breaks. And so I do wonder if Ohio State will be able to find some of those pressure points in this Penn State defense and eventually just get that dam to break and then flood, some rushing yards, through the secondary and maybe break one of these long ones. There's some run concepts that I know Ohio State still hasn't gotten to yet, and the Buckeyes are planning on, over time, who knows if it's going to be in this game, but working to get into the equation here. I do think the run game can be more successful. I'm on record. I've taken a little bit of a beating from some folks online. I'm on record saying that I think the Ohio State rushing attack is better than what it's shown so far this season because they've, just now figured out who their better running backs are, which I guess you could say was a problem in its own right. But they've also figured out what they do correctly and what they do well. And I think now coming out of the off week, I think there's a chance to run the ball well here. But I'm the same idiot who's been projecting them to run the ball well for the last few games. So maybe I'll be wrong. But that's a key to the game, Mick. You've got to be able to run the ball against this Penn State defense because that's what they've been giving up a lot of. Key number 2, Mick. Other side of the ball. Force Penn State to throw the football. Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, one of the best duos of running the football in college football. Katron Allen especially. Singleton's had a down year. I don't know what's going on there. He doesn't look like that explosive, especially freshman year, but sophomore year, Nicholas Singleton that we became used to and we expected this year. But Katron Allen has been a really good back this year. He's been one of the big bright spots in an otherwise dim Penn State offense. He's really good at keeping them not in third and long. When they get in third and long is when it is just not what you want. Last week or 2 weeks ago against Iowa, Ethan Grunkemeyer, who is now the Penn State starting quarterback, another Ohio native, just like Drew Aller, but he was the backup to Drew Aller. Ethan Grunkemeyer against Iowa was 2 of 4 for 23 yards and 2 interceptions. He also took 1 sack on 3rd and 4th downs of more than 5 yards. If they're in third and long, it is not a good outfit. It's not a good team. So if you can stop the run and force Penn State to throw the ball, you're going to win this game. If Penn State has success running the football, they're going to gain confidence. That's going to open up some things in the passing game, and then we'll see where it goes because, again, this team is still talented. But if you are forcing them to throw the ball and you're getting them in third and longs, you will win this game.
Yeah, it's one of the more fascinating things because walking off the field, our colleague Jeremy Birmingham and myself, we talked to this one player that was coming off the field. I don't need to name names because not that I'm saying anything incriminating, but still. We're talking about, just the Penn State game, what they're thinking, and different type of things. And they mentioned, really good wide receiver, obviously, in Trevor Pena, who was good for Syracuse last year, Syracuse transfer. You have 2 good running backs. You have good tight end. You start listing off. Ohio State's very clearly aware of, like you said, of the talent that is on this, on the team. But then you also have that quarterback there, and Ethan Grunkemeyer, who doesn't have the reps, who's going to be facing, in the middle of the field, he has to stare down and look and see number 2, Caleb Downs, across them 20 yards down the field. And I don't think any quarterback really wants to see that, let alone somebody that's making their second career starter. And then you have Arvell Reese wanting to chase you around. You have Caden McDonald just pushing your center around, I assume, too. So, there's a lot of different things that if you put this in Ethan Grunkermeyer's hand, like you've implied, it probably doesn't turn out well for Penn State because I don't think there's a lot of things their offense does great in general, let alone when they have to pass the ball on obvious downs like that.
Do we know if it's Grunkemeyer or if it's Grunkmeyer?
Grunkemeyer. Okay,
you got to put the little in there. All right, that's noted because I've been curious. I've been Grunk curious all week. So yeah, but I just think that if you make him throw the ball on third down, you're going to have success because he's going to complete a couple. He might even get loose on a couple. There were a couple times against Iowa where they've got it pretty well covered, and he slips free and picks up a first down with his legs. He's a pretty mobile kid, and he had a little bit of that poise that you want to see. The bare bones of the poise that you want to see for a starting quarterback. Throughout that Iowa game, he didn't play well, and I'm not going to give him that. But, one of his interceptions was on a deep ball that the Iowa player made just an insane catch near the goal line. And the other one was on a tipped pass. So it's not like the interceptions were just horrendous. Now the one that was on a tip pass was on a slant that nobody should have thrown. But he's going to make some mistakes. Now he's going to the Horseshoe, a place that he dreamed of playing. We've already covered that. You know that. Everybody knows that. He wanted to go to Ohio State. Now he's going to have a chance to slay the dragon a little bit. But man, like, this is a tough ask, and making him throw the ball on third down is going to be key for Ohio State. I just think that that's a winning recipe for the Matt Patricia defense to be able to get in his head, confuse him a little bit. I do think Penn State's going to throw the ball down the field more. Terry Smith talked about needing to throw the ball down the field more. I think he wasn't too pleased with the conservative approach that James Franklin was always taking. They never threw the ball down the field. They threw it down the field a little bit more against Iowa. Didn't have a lot of success with it, but they tried. So, I think that that's something that you could watch for in this game. If you want to watch for this game in person, the best place to do it is in the Game Time app and at gametime.co. Look, there's not many opportunities to get into the building to see Ohio State and Penn State play in person for this cheap. There are tickets right now on gametime.co for as low as $120. There's some really good deals. There's you can get in for $128 up in C-Deck, $130 in C-Deck. That is not normal for this kind of game. $162 in B-Deck. Like, that is seriously not normal. And then we'll also give you 20% off, $20 off when you use the code ON3 over at gametime.co or in the Game Time app. That's ON3 at gametime.co or in the Game Time app. Being in the tailgate and in the stands, nothing's better. You can get tickets. Tickets can be a frustrating story, though, Mick. I'm telling you, nothing's better than getting in the stadium, but getting in the stadium on itself can be a really frustrating story. I'm telling you guys, gametime.co simplifies all of that, makes it really easy to go get tickets. They don't have fees. They do have the fees, but they're built in. What you see is what you pay for. It's not like, you click on, hey, let's do this, and all of a sudden you're getting slapped with a bunch of shipping, handling, processing fees, and you get the ticket on your phone. You say, what am I paying shipping for? The ticket's on my phone. Game Time doesn't do that. There's no hidden fees there. So go to gametime.co, use the Game Time app today. Get $20 off your first purchase when you use the code ON3, ON3 at checkout. That's $20 off in the Game Time app and at gametime.co. Go get your tickets there today. Mick, third key to the game for Ohio State is to avoid early mistakes. Do you know what gets a talented team that's underperforming into a groove? Creating a turnover, getting an early touchdown, finding something cheap on a trick play, blocking a field goal, blocking a punt. In each of the last 3 games, Penn State has either blocked a punt or blocked a field goal. They blocked a punt against UCLA. They blocked a punt against Northwestern. They blocked a field goal for a touchdown against Iowa. Now, Iowa was kicking a 66-yard field goal, and so it's got to have a low trajectory. Why Iowa thought that it should be attempting a 66-yard field goal, I don't know. I blame Iowa more than I do Penn State for that, but Penn State's been really good on special teams, and Ohio State has not. So, key here, don't give up anything stupid on special teams early. Don't give up anything stupid, trick play-wise on offense, because they're going to come out and do some of those things, and don't turn the ball over early, letting Jim Knowles confuse you, because then he's going to get in your head. We know what Jim Knowles can do to quarterbacks. So, avoid that early mistake. Don't give Penn State any of that confidence, because if you give them that early mistake, you give them that early confidence, it's going to be a different kind of ball game. So that's the third key to the game here. What do you think, Nick?
I like that one a lot. You think if Julian Sayin threw an early interception against Penn State, like he would get to his phone after the game and just get a text from Will Howard say, been there before, like just after last year.
That's a good point. I don't laugh really out loud on this show, but man, that one got me. Good. That's good.
But yeah,
you've been sitting on that one. I can tell you've been sitting on that one all week.
Julian Sayin, obviously, he hasn't thrown a lot of interceptions, and the funny thing about his interceptions too, they've largely been against, like, it's more than they've been like, Julian, what are you doing type of situations, more than it's been like, oh, the defense got him there. And obviously, there's part of that is there was this graphic going around on Twitter on Thursday when we're recording this, of how many times Ohio State's opponents have been called for defensive pass interferences, right, Spencer? Was that what the graph was about? Yeah. And you kind of quote tweeted and like, oh, that's interesting. And then people are like, does this mean everybody's getting away with it? And you go, no, it also probably means that Ohio State's wide receivers just get wide open a lot of the time. And that's why Julian Sayin's been so good. But still, A.J. Harris is a good corner. They have a good secondary at Penn State. Like, there's going to be guys that can get up in Jeremiah Smith's face and Carnell Tate's face and challenge him. So it's on Julian Sayin to make sure that pressure does not equate to another turnover. And then, like you said, on special teams, you just can't give up anything. Like, the one thing about Ohio State, while their execution, the results have not been amazing, there's not been a lot of, like, blocks. Like, obviously, there's the return or the fake punt that Wisconsin executed a couple weeks ago, but we're not talking about teams that are blocking Ohio State's punts or kicks because they typically try and get things off quickly. And then overall, I'm not like it's hard to be worried about this defense giving up a trick play because it just seems like they are so solid on a down-to-down basis that even if they gave up like a double pass, it would go for like 20 yards and Caleb Downs would make a tackle and then they'd hold the Penn State offense to a field goal in that situation. But still, you got to be mindful of that type of stuff in these type of games.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was trying to convey there is this key to the game is a three-phase approach. Like it is all phases of the game. Do not give up something cheap. Don't give them an early carrot. Just don't let them have something quick and early that sets the tone for the game, tells you that it's going to be a slog for Ohio State, that it's going to be something that's going to have you on the edge of your seat. Like, put them away early. And if you avoid a mistake early, you should be able to put them away early. Because if you go down on that first drive, Ohio State's only scored a touchdown on 2 opening drives this year. If you go down on that first drive, you put one in the end zone, you make it 7-0, you deliver a statement, you get that noon crowd behind you in the horseshoe, which is, I think it's going to be rocking because I think this place is a powder keg, when it comes to Jim Knowles. You get that place rocking. I really think that it's going to be, here we go again for Penn State. And so that's just, that's just the way I feel, man. And I think
a blackout as well. And Spencer's got a little start on it as well. He's got his, that's a nice shirt there, Spence. Where could I get one like that? Maybe if I wanted a blackout or just any other color, maybe an Ohio State one as well.
Yeah, rowback.com, Lettermen 20 at checkout, Lettermen 20 at checkout. And you get 20% off your first order over at rowback.com, RHOBACK, best fit, best feel. I might even wear it outside tomorrow for a little leisure activity. Hey, I think I have dinner tomorrow evening as well. I think I might wear it there too. Location I'm not going to disclose because I don't want the paparazzi to show up. You know how we are, Mick, here at Lettermen Row. That's all we've got for you guys. This is a Thursday edition of the program. That's Mick Walker on the other side of your screen. I'm just Spencer Holberg. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Quick little rundown of the 3 keys. We're not wasting any time. It's Penn State week. There's no time to waste. It's also Halloween, so go pass out some candy. Be nice to your neighbors. Say hello to the kids, and let us know what your favorite Halloween candy is in the comments. Unless it's like licorice or candy corn, then just keep it to yourself because I don't want to hear it. That's Mick Walker. I'm just Spencer Holberg. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys over at LettermenRow.com. We'll see you back here on Friday for more bold predictions for Ohio State, Penn State.